Welcome to Education, Leadership, and Beyond, Surviving and Thriving. My name is Andrew Murata, host of the show, and Happy New Year. This is our first show of 2023. Happy to be here in the home of the Education Podcast Network and Voice Ed Radio Canada. Wherever you are tuning in, thank you so much for being part of Education, Leadership, and Beyond. It is exciting. We are at show number, where did I lost the number? I think it's 232, Blake. But we're up there and happy to be on. We're going to meet our guest here in a moment, Blake Utley. Blake is a coach. Blake is a educator in Iowa, Fort Dodge, Iowa. And really interesting, he teaches a course called the Half Marathon Course, where he teaches kids to run a half marathon. And then the end, I guess it's going to be the final. We'll talk about it. Run a half marathon. And that is really cool. I am really by a friend of ours, Dr. Rob Gilbert, the Success Hotline. We'll give Dr. Rob a shout out, and happy that to cross paths with Blake. Want to thank today's sponsor of the show, and that's today's sponsor is me. We have a coach on here. We have an athletic guy, so we're going to do a little promotion for Tales from the Hardwood. This book is out and about. It is basketball season, and it's not a book about officiating. It is a book about life. It's a book about leadership. So I want to get the word out to all coaches, athletic directors. I'd love to come and present for you, but Tales from the Hardwood. Blake, I'll get a copy in the mail to you. Your buddy Kaner's on here with a testimonial on the back. So we'll get that to Blake for being on the show. So let's get started here on the show. Again, happy to be rolling live on Facebook. And it is show number 233. Forgive me, Blake, 233. And here we are in the new year. And New Year's brings New Year's resolutions. New Year's brings a breath of fresh air, a change in our lives, right? And what are those changes? We hope for the best, but a lot of times they fade away. But how could something like running a half marathon, how can dedicating yourself to your fitness and a goal, and then achieving that goal, how do you do that? How do you do those things? And there's so many ways, there's so many successful people. And I want to hear from Blake some of his tricks and some of his tactics he uses to get the kids to run the half marathon. But whatever those goals are for you, whatever those things are, I urge you a little bit a lot of the time, a little bit each day. You're not going down to the gym tomorrow morning at 5 and working out for an hour and a half if you haven't been doing it, right? A little bit, a lot of the time. Those first few things you're going to do are hard, they're difficult. My wife and I are doing the whole 30 this month, right? Just kind of Whole Foods for the month. If you're interested in that, it's pretty cool. Food plan, the whole 30. And the past 2 days, I've been like craving food, craving carbs, and it's been challenging, but we're going to do it a little bit, a lot of the time. So I wish you the best here in the new year. And again, if you are interested in Tales from the Hardwood, it's on Amazon, or certainly if you want a personalized copy, I will get that to you. Let's get rolling. Let's meet Blake here. You don't want to hear me talking anymore. We'll bring Blake into the show. He's there on duty at Fort Dodge. Blake, welcome to Education, Leadership, and Beyond.
Andrew, I'm so freaking excited to be here, man. I'm super pumped up to be able to share this story, and even more pumped up to get to hear some of yours as well. So thanks for having me, and Happy New Year to everybody out there.
Yeah, and thanks for squeezing us in. You're working now. You got teams here, jumping here. You got your family, and real quick, we're going to get to know you during the show. But Blake, give us an introduction. Where you coming from, and where you at?
We're right in the middle of the country, man. Fort Dodge, Iowa. Born and raised here. Never thought I'd end up here, but as life goes and opportunities come, I'm right back here, and I couldn't be happier, really, because I know the people around here really well. I know what kind of people they are, and it allows me to connect with them, I think, a little bit easier. And so, no, I absolutely love it. Been a PE teacher here since 2006, the fall of 2006, and been rolling ever since. Head baseball coach since 2013. Been coaching baseball at the school, though, since 2004. And then I also am the defensive coordinator, which I only admit when we give up very little points. Because it's season, I'll admit it right now. I've been doing that since 2006. Well, as the defense coordinator since about 2015. But so no, definitely busy. Have two children, a 9-year-old daughter, Emmeline, and a 7-year-old son. So now they're starting to get into some sports, and so coaching their teams and trying to put all that in those 168 hours that we have per week. And it's challenging, but you got to prioritize it and make it happen. So that's
make it happen. Well, and I appreciate you giving us a little time. Blake, we have some common people here that brought our lives together. Certainly Dr. Rob, Brian Kane, Dr. Jared Smith there in Iowa. Amazing, the connections. But we met on one of Dr. Gilbert's seminars there on a Saturday night. Here's the busy guys, giving a Saturday night there. And I just was so intrigued about, the course you teach. Let's jump right in. Tell me about this half marathon course. Where'd you come up with the idea, and what's it all about?
Yeah, so in 2009, January 2009, I ran my first ever marathon. Now, I graduated from the University of Northern Iowa with a major in physical education. And as I'm going through school, a lot of my classmates are talking about these races they do, these half marathons they do. And I looked at them at that point. And I said, why would you waste your time training for a half? Why not just train for the whole dang thing? And they kind of looked at me like, you've obviously never ran. And so I told them, I said, the first race that I will ever do, I promise you, will be a full marathon. So right out of college, I decided that, hey, I'm going to give this a go. I found a buddy here in Fort Dodge, and we trained for it together most of the time. His discipline, he struggled a little bit at times, but it was good. We those accountability partners are huge. And so we trained, and then in January of 2009, down in the Phoenix area, we ran the Rock and Roll full marathon down there.
Oh, wow.
And as soon as I finished it, I was like, it was just this feeling of euphoria. It was just unreal. And I'm like, I have to find a way. I mean, I'm in a position as a teacher. If I can feel like that, how can I make my students have that same feeling and understand that if they put their time and their dedication into anything, that they can achieve it. And along the way, a colleague of mine gave me a book that was actually written by some UNI former professors there. And it's called, I have it right here still, it's a little beat up now, but it's called The Non-Runner's Marathon Trainer. And so this is all about a class that took place at the University of Northern Iowa, where I went, that I had no idea even existed at the time. But there, what they did is they trained for a full marathon. They had a lot longer period of time. They had 18 weeks. And so they would train for it. And their final in the class is the marathon. If they finish it, they pass. If they don't pass. And so as I'm reading this book and I'm following it religiously, and it's giving me these mental and physical techniques of running and all this information, I'm like, wow, this is powerful. I think this can be done at the high school level. So as soon as I got done with my race, within the next 2 weeks, I was in the principal's office here. And luckily I had some very supportive principals at the time. Both were open to new ideas, new classes, new thoughts, anything that they believe, would benefit kids. And I sold it to them, and they bought it. They ate it up. They gave me everything I ever needed. We had, GPS heart rate monitor watches for kids to track distances, to hold them accountable to that. So everything, without their support, there's no way that this would have ever taken off. But so I was, we had 9 weeks where this class was 18 weeks. So I thought, hey, let's bring it down half the distance, half the time. So we went to a half marathon, and off we went in the fall of 2009. It was the first ever class, and we've been going strong since.
Wow. And what is some of the feedback? What's some of the reaction in the school? Are kids, is there a celebration afterwards? What happens at the end of the course?
It's the most powerful thing as both a coach or a teacher I've ever experienced, because I get, you would think you get these kids that are runners, they're cross country runners, they're this, and you get a few, but I tried to recruit kids that may need it, that may question if they can do it. So usually the answer I get, because I'll teach regular PE class, and I recruit kids for my PE class. I'm like, hey, you move really well. Like, have you ever thought about doing something like this? And usually the response is, well, how far is a half marathon? I
Hmm.
said, it's 13.1 miles. They're like, no, no, nope, too far, too far. And so then I always go back to this. I always say, hey, can you run or walk for 15 minutes? Well, yeah. Then you can take the class because we're going to just do it one day at a time. Just one day at a time. Just you trust me. Let me lead you. Let me give you some thoughts, some wisdom. If you can do that to start with, we can get you there.
Wow.
And so that's usually where we go. I try not to let them have too many excuses and just say, just come do it. And then by the end, when they cross that finish line and just that look, every time that they cross, I just relive that moment of me crossing my first finish line, and it's like it's the best feeling I've ever had as an educator.
I love it. I love it. Share a couple success stories. Share a special moment or something that really might have impacted somebody's life with us.
Sure. So it was about 3 years ago. I had a young lady, and she came up to me and she said, "Hey, this is something that I think I might want to try. I don't think I can run 13.1 miles. Do you think I could take this class and maybe do like maybe a 5K or a 10K?" And I said, "I'll tell you what. Let's plan on that. Let's plan on a 5K or 10K, but you do the 15-minute run walk with us for the first day and the second day. And whenever you think you can no longer do the workouts we're doing, we will adjust them for you." And she said, "Okay, deal." Well, at the end of the semester, she finished a half marathon, and it wasn't fast by any means, but the feeling that she had, and in fact, I ran that race with them. I usually run with them. This last year's the only year I haven't because I have an Achilles issue going on. But
Mm.
after I get off my race, we're waiting, and it's super hot out in Des Moines, Iowa at this time of the year. It's in June, and it's getting near 3.5, 4 hours, and I'm like, oh man, I hope she's gonna be okay because she was a bigger gal. And I'm like, so I jog back and I get on the trail, and then I caught up to her, asked her how she's doing, and so I got to finish with her too. And that last half mile to see what's going through her
Mm.
mind. And when she saw the finish line, when she crossed, and tears are coming down and smiles on her face, and it's like, I don't care if this is extra time, because there's a lot of extra time in this class, to train that long, you don't get it done in a 67-minute period. So we do it first period of the day so we can start early, and yeah, it's not compensated, but that doesn't even matter. You don't do it for that. You do it for the feeling that they get. And so she finishes that, and since she has stayed in contact and emails me and shares her life story, and that's super, super awesome to hear that as they move forward. So yeah, that's one of the success stories that I have of somebody who never thought they could do it. And I have a ton of stories, but that one sticks out.
And everyone who's taken the course has done it.
100% of our starters of the race have finished.
Wow,
Yeah,
that is
it's
really a
unreal.
feather in your cap. What a nice thing for your school. And has it taken off around you? Are you seeing other schools start this? Because I'm certainly bringing this to my school.
Yeah, let's get it going. I'll help your staff in any way possible. There's actually a school down in Ottumwa, Iowa, who's dabbling with it. And the biggest issue and concerns are you have to have a supportive administration. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. I mean, you're asking kids to go out and run long distances without having supervision with them at all times. So safety precautions and that stuff could be a worry, and that's some of the barriers that some schools have to fight against a little bit. Like I said, I'm super lucky that my staff said, "Hey, let's go and do it," and then we talk about how to be safe on trails, how to be safe on the road. I mean, so we try to come with different things to provide some safety precautions there, but. So yeah, so supposedly Ottumwa is going to take off this year. I hope they do, because I hope we can network with them a little bit as they go through and they get to know each other, and hopefully we can each do the same race and meet there in the middle and just say, hey, and put faces with names and all that stuff. I think it'd be really cool.
Well, I hope you hold up your book one of these days, talking about the half marathon class and the kids that have been successful there. And
that's what
good for
DRG
you.
always tells me, and I think it's going to happen. I think I'll sit down and get some pen to paper, but that's, as with anything, and this, it's the start that stops most. And I just got to start it. Once it started, I know it's going to roll.
Yeah, you've got the book written already because you're doing the work, which is really cool. Speaking of the DRG, I love it that you called Dr. Rob Gilbert the DRG. But tell me about your journey calling the Success Hotline. what does calling that success hotline do for you each day, Blake?
Yeah, I try to push this, and even in my baseball groups and football groups, I talk a lot about Dr. Rob Gilbert, and I talk a lot about the Success Hotline. It's something he's been doing for years, 30 plus years. 3-minute daily message. I mean, it's something that I start my day with. On the way to the gym, I call him, which usually puts me a day behind, but that's fine, because he puts them up after I've already been to the gym. But so I'm usually a day behind on his calls. Sometimes I'll call later because I want to know what's next. But it's 3 minutes of reaffirming what you believe in. Sometimes they're repeat messages, but you can never hear it enough. It's a way to start your day. It's that spark that gets you going. It's because a lot of times, let's be honest, when that alarm clock goes off in the morning, I always tell my students that's the biggest challenge of the day, is putting your feet on the floor. Once your feet are on the floor, let's rock and roll. But it's a daily grind when that alarm goes off to say, okay, I could sleep longer. I want to sleep longer, but we all know that get those feet on the ground and let's move. And that helps me because it's just routine, and Brian Cain talks about routines of excellence. And it's once you get into that routine and you miss them, which as I was on my family vacation, I started missing them. I was talking to you about this earlier. I missed my call today, and I'm itching. I'm like, God dang it, I got to call. So on the way home here tonight, I'm going to call and get caught up. But that means in the morning, I'm going to hear the same one again. So that's okay.
Yeah. Well, he's changing lives, and I know he's a big fan of your work. He spoke about you on the hotline. He spoke about you on his workshop. So I'm glad to see that we have some people in our circles. And you mentioned Brian Cain. You have that thing behind you, number 401 there, and the arrow. Talk about your immersion there with Brian Cain and what were those takeaways for you?
Yeah, that was an unbelievable experience, a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I was able to go down to Brian Cain's house in the Phoenix area and learn about his 10 pillars of peak performance and learn all about that side of it, to learn just about everything, learn how to be an author of a book. And so it was just invaluable. But during the trip, we were able to, it was all kind of based around baseball. So we were able to catch some college baseball games. We were able to train together. We were able to go over all of his pillars and learn them inside and out, and learn how to not just know them, but how to teach them and how to learn it from that side of things, which was unreal. But while we were there, we did some mental performance things. Like we broke the arrow right on the edge of our neck here. You walked into the arrow, and at some point it starts to hurt, but you got to push past, breaking a board over your head, which some people have done, maybe not. But if you go to the board, your head's going to bounce off of it. But if you go through the board, it really isn't much, which is awesome. You just got to make sure you buy the right type of board so you don't end up with a big egg on your head. But and then to finish it, the group of guys that were going, we were going to run this Lost Dutchman race, which you could run the half marathon or the marathon. And two of the guys originally signed up for the marathon, and the rest of us signed up for the half marathon. And I was pretty comfortable with my class of doing half marathon, so I just started a new training plan and got going. And about 2 weeks before the race, we're all getting jacked up and ready to go. And so I started talking to a guy by the name of Buddy Turnage, and I messaged him and I said, hey, let's just run the whole dang thing. And he's like, really? I'm like, yeah, what the heck? Let's just do it. Let's just freaking do it. So then everybody committed to running the whole thing. And so that day we all woke up and went out and ran a full marathon with half marathon training, which was awesome. With that whole trip down there, it's just one of those things you got there. And my whole goal there was, this is only my second ever full marathon. My goal there was to try to get to that breaking point, get to where the wall is where you want to quit. And I want to see if I could handle that better this time around than last time. Like, I was looking forward to that moment. Like, I think I'm better mentally now than I was then. Let's get to that point, see how we handle it. And to me, that was the whole difference in the two races.
And they both have a little hotline there. Brian's on iTunes there. Each day there's a message. So Blake, what would you share as a fitness coach? As a PE teacher and coach, and someone who's run a lot. What would be your fitness tips for people who are looking to get back into shape here in 2023?
Number one, hands down, start. Just start. Know where you are right now going into it, and just go do it. If on day one, walking into the gym is a win for you, go win. Walk into the gym, turn around and go home. Then the next day, walk in the gym and then maybe walk for 5 minutes, turn around and go home. and then just gradually build. I think what a lot of us do, though, especially as New Year's rolls around, it's like, I'm going to lose 30 pounds and I'm going to do that in 10 days. Well, you're not going to do that. Right. And if you do, it's not going to stay off. And the first time we go to the gym, hey, I'm going to work out every day, we feel fresh. So what do? We go in, we blow our bodies up, and then our body reminds us the next day and the day after that it's not ready for it. And so then we just quit because that's that miserable state. And so if you just gradually build, and like I said, just commit to it, commit to a time and plan it. I think planning it is huge. I think starting is huge, and then stay with it. And that seems easy, but it just comes down to discipline. Set a reminder on your phone. When you set an alarm, have a message with it. If you have an iPhone, I have it every day. My message is it's a Brian Canism. It's every time I look at it, it says dominate the day, and it's Enter Sandman playing by Metallica. That's how I wake up every morning. And it's worked for me. And I'm not saying it's always easy, because it isn't. I don't care if you work out every day already or if you're just starting. Getting up and out of bed is still the hardest part.
Yeah, that's so true. I read The Miracle Morning. I don't know if you've read that.
I haven't.
And the biggest thing that helped me was moving the alarm clock. I had the phone, I had the alarm clock next to the bed, and you hit it, but like you said, your feet on the ground. My wife's next to me. The alarm's ring. I got to get up and turn it off. And once I'm up, that's it. But moving the alarm clock broke it for me.
The other thing that helped me out was set one alarm. Don't even have the option of a snooze button on that alarm, which you can do on an iPhone. Some people are like, no, I need 3, I need 4. I'm like, well, that's 3 or 4 failures to start your day. You're starting your day failing because you need a secondary. Like, let's start with a simple success. What's that simple success? Putting my feet on the floor and getting the heck out of bed.
That's so true, and you're right. Guys, if you're watching the show live, jump in with a question or comment for Blake. I'm feeling inspired. I'm feeling enriched here. How about you, Blake? What are some goals that you have in 2023? What are some things that you're looking to accomplish?
So I'm kind of following yours. I'm gonna try to eat a lot more cleaner this year than I have in the past. There's always excuses. And, I coach 2 varsity sports. I coach my kids. So a lot of times it's a stop at a convenience store and grab whatever the quickest thing is because it's there. But as with anything, if I plan better, I can eat better,
Yeah.
And so that's one thing. And then I'm still trying to recover from an Achilles issue it's just tore me apart. I'm slowly trying to get back into running. So this kind of sounds maybe absurd, but I'm trying to do it in the right way. I want to get back, and I want to slow down a little bit just so that I can become healthier, become stronger, and then take back off. And so for me, that's a huge goal, because when I turn that treadmill on, or if I'm outside, it's always the same pace. And if I'm not at that pace, I feel like I'm failing. So that mental side of allowing myself to go slower is going to be my obstacle that I need to overcome.
Yeah. You don't want to hurt it again, and we're not getting any younger.
No.
Blake, as a runner, right? I used to referee. I was very cautious of what I put on my feet. I'm a New Balance guy. I have custom-made orthotics too that I wear in my shoes. What are you wearing on your feet doing all this running and all this coaching?
Yeah, so actually I've turned into a Brooks guy, but I have worn New Balance. I've wore Asics. I've been in Ons. I've been in Hoka's. I've been in Saucony. I would say
you've touched them all.
I've tried about everything. I don't think I've ever been in a Nike running shoe, just because I don't think they're a good shoe to run in. They look good, but they're not a good one to run in. But every company has 3 types of shoes. And I would highly recommend anybody that wants to get in the conversation of shoe talk is to find a shoe store that can take a look at your feet. There's so many stores out there now that will actually get in and look at where your pressure points are on your feet. But they can also look at the arch of your foot. They can tell how much cushion you need, how much stability you need, and that's more important than any shoe company, because they all make them. They all make a cushion shoe, a neutral shoe, which is a stability shoe, and then they also make a motion control for the people that are really flat-footed, that prevents their feet from pronating in too far. So that's one of the first things we talk about in my class. I bring a guy from a shoe store who they're very specialized, and so he comes in and he's been along my side since day one. He's helped. He's donated shirts to the kids. He's donated shoes to kids that can't afford them. And that's Brown's Shoe Fit here in Fort Dodge, and it's locally. It's a chain in Iowa, but it's also locally owned by him, and he is outstanding and has been there all along. he usually brings in a foot doctor with them, and they kind of tag team the lesson together. And it's unbelievable. The knowledge that they've given me and the students on shoes. But their first thing is always, try to stay away from what is the cutest shoe or what's the best looking shoe, because that doesn't mean it's going to give you the best, the best, I guess, buck for your, for what you're trying to buy here. But so anyway, so my current shoe right now, I actually have them on with I have orthotics on the inside too.
There you go.
I got the Brooks Ghost 15 right now, but these
Okay.
shoe are a pretty stable shoe. They kind of fall right in the cushion / stable. I put more stability in it, and I really like them because they're wide. They gave my foot some room to breathe. New Balance also has wides on them. But I just wear that shoe because that's what fits. I mean, that's what's worked over time for me. So I'm always open to try new things and just keep an open mind with that. But at the same time, I know my foot type, and it's actually changed over time. So that's another thing as you run, that things can change. I think we've all figured that out as we start to age here, but your feet are also going to change. I used to be a high arch guy, and now I got one that's collapsing in on me, and it is what it is.
We're not getting any younger.
No, but we can still do what we once did. It may just not be as fast.
That's right. Blake, I'm inspired, just the impact that you're having on young people. You hear so much about kids being lazy and not achieving their goals, and you're tackling both of those things by helping these kids. So kudos to you for starting that class and being with those kids in each and every day.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And that's what keeps me going, man. It really does. It's like I told you from the get-go. I've coached for many years, and there's been a lot of highs and lows in coaching, but and everything. But this class, when kids, when they do something that they once thought they couldn't do, that's the key, because now they know they can do anything. And I don't care if that's in business. I don't care if that's family. I mean, it's unreal. So,
Blake, what's something you wanted to share or talk about that I did not ask you?
I think you asked me most everything about it. If there's anybody out there that has an idea like this and they need help getting it started, feel free to reach out. The Twitter handle on this thing is short. It should be at Utley41.
I see that. Let's fix that.
Which is okay. Feel free to reach out there. Reach out on Facebook. I'm here to help if I can help in any way. I'm here to learn. So if you have something that you can give me, I love to steal ideas. Let's go. But I'll share them too, so you can steal them. But no, I'm just super excited that there's something like this that's out there for kids. And I know in other classes and there's other ways to tap into that, but it's the most powerful thing I've seen. So
awesome. Blake, let me ask you this. You got 2 young kids under the 10. You've been married 10 years. How do you balance it all? I mentioned about, Tales from the Hardwood, but I also just wrote the dad's book, The Dad's Leaders and Father Figures, with some other dads. And a lot of the book is about balance, is about that grind, as you mentioned, getting pulled and going to events and trying to eat and, be present there. Tell me about your strategies to balance your family, your coaching, as well as taking care of yourself.
I think the first thing is you got to find a wife that's excellent at that. And I've been lucky. I have the most amazing wife. My wife Lacey, she's very good at making sure I put that I stay where my feet are. I'm present where my feet are, and she's very good at it, because I might be at a kid's event and I get a call from a parent, or I get, start working on something on my phone, and she'll just give me that look. If you're married, you know what I mean. It's just that look, like, really? Like, get present here. It's like, yep, you're right. Boom, phone away, whatever it is. Or, at times it's like, hey, this one can't wait. And then she understands. But I would say that's number one, is having somebody that looks out for you. And because it's extremely hard to balance it all. And if there's another goal for 2023, I'd still like to improve on that, because I don't think you're ever there, right? Because you're always doing something. You're always thinking of the next step here. But when you're with your family, you got to be present, because you only get one chance at it. And that's what I always tell myself. I only get 18 years with these kids guaranteed. And that's not guaranteed. Shouldn't even have said that. You only get 18 years in your household if you're lucky and you're blessed with that. And I hope that I get that, but I also don't want to waste away. I don't want to look back at the end of my career and say, man, I wish I would have spent more time with my kids. when they're gone, I can do other things too. But right now they have to be my number one, that whole family of mine. And they are, so we do things like, hey, on Christmas vacation, we go on trips, or any break we can. I try to put the phone away and just be with them during breaks. And so it works. It's challenging. It's never perfect. But that's how I handle it.
Good for you, and good for leading the way there with all you're doing. Let's get rolling to rapid fire. I know you got those kids behind you, and so these are quick questions, Blake. The first thing that comes to mind: are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. The last book you read.
Sustain Your Game by Alan Stein, I think is his name. It was an Audible book. Very good.
Okay. Last movie you saw.
Top Gun Maverick on the cruise ship with my son. It was him and I.
Big time. That was good, right?
It was awesome. He loves it. He's into this Navy stuff right now, and so yeah, he absolutely went crazy.
Did you watch the one with Kevin Costner when he coaches the track team out in California?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, it's good, right?
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's good. What's your favorite dish?
Ooh, some sort of pasta, spaghetti probably.
Yeah, those runners, right? They're always eating the pasta.
That's right. You gotta love those carbs. You gotta have a reason to eat them.
Favorite place to travel?
Anywhere with palm trees and beaches.
That's a long way from Iowa.
A long way. A long way.
The best PE teachers are the best because fill in the blank.
They believe in their students. They don't see them for where they are now, but where they can be.
Beautiful answer. I love it. I know you're a hotline caller. I know you call Brian Kane. What's a journal or a blog you subscribe to?
Actually, I went with podcasts, and in the Brian Kane, the Mental Performance Daily, and then also Zach Sorensen, another guy I met down there. He has a Hard 90, very, very good. So, but I'm a big. I listen to things, even the books. Audible, I love Audible. Audible is the way to go.
Cool. What's a pet peeve of yours? You described a lot of passions. What's something that gets under your skin?
When somebody is late. I can't stand that or they sit there and or people that preach things, but they don't follow it. Those two things. Like if I'm going to be a PE teacher, I better work out.
And Kaner spoke about that, right? That he was out of shape, and it was, and he said, "How can I be coaching these people when I'm not doing it myself?"
Exactly, 100%. Yeah, that's a huge pet peeve. Those two things.
Yeah. And I said 7:20, and here, boom, you were on the program before I got there.
You said 7:20. It was 7:03.
He was there. At 8 a.m. on Saturday morning, I feel fill in the blank.
I feel great. I'm just looking forward to that day. I always tell my students, I'm like, hey, today's my favorite day. And they're like, why? It's Thursday. I'm like, no, you missed it. Today's my favorite day. We only get one chance at today, and that's it. And it's gone. Never get another chance. So I just want to be in the present, be here. Hopefully on a Saturday morning at 8, I've either already worked out or I'm just getting ready to work out, or going to a kid's sporting event. But wherever it is, I'm just ready to crush the day.
I love it. I love your attitude, and those kids must love you. You shared, you had some hurdles here, so I don't know if you're going to choose your story in Mexico, but a recent victory.
Yeah, getting to the cruise ship. We took a vacation, and long story short, we sat on 2 different planes for a total of 9 hours and didn't move. We drove 3 states, 3 different airports to catch a flight to get there the day of the cruise and to get on, and it was unreal. But it's a story we're always going to be able to tell.
And like Dr. Gilbert says, right? So, something good can come of this. You had that time with your family, and I'm sure you modeled patience through it.
As much as I could.
Yeah. What would you say the best takeaway from our show today is?
I just love what you stand for. I've got on and watched some of your previous podcasts, and I love that there's an administrator that's out east that's doing podcasts. I just think it's a way it's just the newer way. I don't know. I could buy in. Like I would love to teach at your school and start something like this at some point and rock and roll, or let's get you in the Midwest or, something.
We're always looking for good people, Blake. Port Jervis, baby. What is something you're curious about?
Ooh. Here's it. And here's the $1 million idea if you want it. Okay. You ready for this? I've always thought this.
Here we go.
My wife's always told me I'm crazy for this, but we were just in airports, so now it's strong in my mind. Why do airports not have gyms? Everybody's there 2 hours early. Why wouldn't they want to waste 45 minutes to an hour on a treadmill or an elliptical? And then, just bring a change of clothes, shower there, provide towels.
Oh
Bam.
my goodness, bro. You need to lock that in.
I do. You want to help?
You need to lock that in. You got it. I mean, the space is killer, but there would be a charge. But get the treadmills.
Yep.
Everyone's sitting around.
Everybody. And they all walk up and down that little port, but put a TV in front of them with all the flight details, and oh yeah, let's rock and roll, man. I've always thought that.
Wow, we got something here, Blake.
Yeah,
we got your Twitter there fixed there. It is Utley 41 on Twitter. Is that the best way for people to reach out to you if they want to learn more about the program, or how can they?
That or Facebook. I'm available at my school, which is B Utley, which looks like Butley, so you got to appreciate that when they do that. Butley at FD as in Fort Dodge schools.org. So schools with an S at the end, but that's probably too much to remember. So at Utley 41, I'll answer that. I'm on Twitter a lot. Like I said, I would love to steal ideas, and I think Twitter's a great place for that. So I'll answer any of that, or Facebook, and I would love to get somebody started on this journey.
Yeah, and I hope our teachers out there and our administrators watching will reach out. I think it's a great idea, and what a goal, what an event for kids to do it. But like you said, propel them on later in life, that they achieve this at such a young age. So kudos to you. Blake, I know we got a lot of the same quotes from the DRG, but give us a quote here to end the show.
All right, I got two. All right, the first one is I've really enjoyed ever since I've been about 9 years old. I had a poster in my room, and it said, "The harder you work, the luckier you get." And it's so true, so true. And even though I'm a huge quote guy, and there's so many that are powerful, that one has stuck with me since the age of 9, so it must mean something, right? And then my Brian Cain quote: "If you're juiceful, you're useful. If you're juiceless, you're useless." So let's be juiceful today.
If you're juiceful, you're useful. I love it. He's awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Guys, this is Blake Utley, Fort Dodge, Iowa. Blake, it was an honor to have you on the program. I appreciate you. Stay on the line a moment. Friends, if I can help you in any way, don't hesitate to reach out at Andrew Murata 21 on Twitter. We're going to sign off here on Education, Leadership, and Beyond. Again, Blake Utley from Iowa. It was an honor. Guys, again, one more shout out to Tales from the Hardwood. Blake, if you're an Audible guy, we're going to get you an Audible copy there for you. But we're going to sign off, show number 233. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Leave us a positive comment here and signing off. Andrew Murata, keep surviving and thriving, friends.